Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Workers' Mic right here on 720 WGN. My name is Ken Edwards with the Midwest Coalition of Labor. Sitting next to me is Ed Maher with the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150. Good morning, Ed.
Good morning, Ken.
How's it going?
I'm cold.
I'm
cold.
I'm sorry.
I'm sick of this.
You want to? Oh, but you're just sick of the winter.
I'm sick of the winter.
I'm a little done with the winter as well.
Yeah, I'm getting ready. You know, kids are out for spring break, and it doesn't really feel like it.
No, not at all. I will tell you this. Most importantly, my bracket. I hate to say it.
Shot.
No.
Recovered.
I think I'm in it. So, knock on wood. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, I had the University of Vermont winning the whole thing. So
no, you didn't.
No.
So we had a bunch to get to. We have a really cool show for you today. We have Marcus Jordan coming in later. He is the outreach coordinator for the III FFC and Local 150, and
right.
really cool dude. You'll get a lot out of listening to him. So stick around for that. There obviously has been a ton of labor news, as there continues to be every single week.
Yeah.
You said that
the year of the worker.
Disney. That's right. Disney got a contract.
Yeah, the workers at Disney World. I think it was 32,000 of them just in the early part of Friday morning.
The ones that were not laid off.
Right. Well, I mean, I think 3/4 of this group of people were all working at minimum wage, or not minimum wage, but working at $15 an hour.
Yeah.
And this will bring them up over the course of the next year to about $18 an hour. But it's a 5-year agreement, and over that 5 years, it'll bring them up almost 40%.
Wow.
Yeah, so 40% sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
These people are working, wearing giant character heads out in the hot sun of Florida for $15 an hour. So
soon to be 40% higher than that.
That's exactly right. But they,
you know what? You got to start someplace, and good for them. You know.
Yeah, because what can you buy for $15 at Disney World? Not a picture, probably not an ice cream cone. I don't know. Parking, forget about it.
Yeah, I have no idea. I guess it's expensive.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about it.
So we had that, and then in California, the teachers went on a 3-day strike.
Right.
And I believe it wasn't just the teachers. I think they were joined by custodial staff and other staff of the Los Angeles School District, and it was a 3-day strike.
Right. I think they went back to work on Friday.
I think that's right. But, you know, one of the things I think that we're seeing, and there was an article, I think that you had sent it, that strikes are the way to get more money.
Yeah, I had seen an article. I want to say it was in Bloomberg this week.
And Bloomberg is a financial publication,
right?
Owned by what's his face,
Mike Bloomberg.
Yeah,
Imagine that.
Yeah.
He's nice and easy to remember.
Yeah,
but yeah, they have a labor reporter named Robert Iafala. He's a great guy, and he covers a lot of this stuff. So what he essentially found was that there are more strikes, and those strikes are resulting in more, wage increases in these successor agreements. Meaning not a first union group like when you first form a union, but
right.
For unions that are looking for a new contract. More of them are winding up going out on strike, and the result of that is higher wage increases, better benefit increases in these agreements.
So you're saying that management, in and of itself, doesn't want to just pay more money?
They don't do it because you're a nice guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you're saying withhold your labor, right? And if people just literally put their hands in their pockets, the world is their oyster.
Yeah, I mean, as always, you've got to have realistic expectations about what members want in this agreement. Because if you're going to go on strike, you're asking workers to forgo a paycheck
for sure,
and that's a big deal. So whatever you're trying to achieve has first off got to be really important, something that they really want and are willing to hit the streets for.
Yeah.
But also something that can be achievable.
And it has to be well thought out. And you make a good point about strikes. Everybody says,
they just went on strike.
Yeah, they just all they want to do is go on strike. Oh, they're going to strike. Blah blah blah. Well, when you go on strike, like you said, you don't get paid. And if
right.
you get a 3% raise coming back off of a strike, but you just lost 4% because you're out for 3 weeks, well, you just lost money.
Right.
So it has to be well thought out, right?
It does.
And the price of poker goes up when you walk out the door.
Right.
And so, Temple University, I keep going back to this because my son goes there. The grad students went on strike. They got a contract, voted it down, continued to stay on strike, and went back and got a better contract.
Right. I mean, last summer, the construction industry around Chicago was impacted by a lot of the pits and quarries that produce sand, gravel, aggregate material. There was a big strike, and those workers went back. They got a last best final from the employers, voted it down,
Right.
and the employers, 24 hours later, threw a lot extra on there. So, being on strike, it's a way that it means a lot for the workers, but it means a lot to the employers too, because the employers oftentimes can't sell their products, and they're eager to get back to work.
I got to tell you, so there was I think a 1-day strike across the country for Starbucks, and a bunch of Chicago stores went on strike as well. I don't see Starbucks getting the union getting a contract without an actual nationwide strike. I mean, Starbucks seems to have just dug their heels in.
There are a lot of times that I've seen a 1-day strike, which a lot of times is meant to get attention, and it can get attention. But
Sure.
For a new group like this, when you have a company like Starbucks that makes so much money, 1 day is not going to put them out of business. If you want to get attention,
1 day of 100 stores, throughout of a world of 9,000 stores, that ain't gonna get it.
Right.
I get the grabbing attention and getting the plight out to the public. That makes sense to me.
Right.
But I think they're gonna have to come up with a better strategy.
Yeah. Well, we've got to take a break.
Okay.
But after the break, we're going to have Marcus Jordan in, and
And then don't forget, we're gonna also announce the winner of last week's contest.
That's exactly right.
That's right. We've raffled off the same gift card twice.
Yeah. So the people who applied the first time, we're really sorry.
Yeah.
All right. Stick with us. We'll be right back with more right here on 720 WGN. Welcome back, everybody, to the Workers' Mic right here on 720 WGN. Ed Maher here with Ken Edwards and our guests. Today we have Marcus Jordan, and Marcus is the Outreach Coordinator, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Coordinator for the Illinois, Indiana, Iowa Foundation for Fair Contracting and the International Union of Operating Engineers Local 150 Apprenticeship Program. So first and foremost, thank you so much for coming in, Marcus.
No, thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure.
That's an amazing amount of title.
How about it?
Can you fit all that on a
No
business
way.
card?
2 sides. You got to use 2 sides. You use a really small font. But thank you again for coming in. And, Marcus, you and I have known each other for a while. I know you and Ken go way back.
Yeah, for sure.
But why don't you tell us a little bit just about what it is that you do?
Okay, well, Ed, I
Host
I'm on
a
the
radio show.
and you're
I'm talking. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking to Marcus.
Just pretend he's not even here.
Sorry, I thought you were talking to me.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, my main thing is that I go into all the communities throughout all the districts that the Indiana, Illinois, Iowa Foundation for Fair Contracting and the operating engineers cover.
Right.
And explain about union apprenticeship and all the options that it has for someone to live a great life.
And you're a member of Local 150. You worked as a member in the field.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you can talk to them, with experience. And,
Let's go back. Let's go backwards for a second, Marcus, because when I first met you, I met you in Waukegan.
Yeah.
And you had told me this, and that you had come through this program. And what was the name of the program?
It was a T-cart.
And what did that mean? What did that stand for?
Ooh.
I can't remember
Yeah,
what
I
it
can't
stood
remember.
what
Yeah.
it stood for, but it was a program under Governor Pat Quinn. So this would have been like 2012, 2013. I want to say
Yep.
this program would have been, and it was essentially if you go to a school that has tech programs and you go through those, you have a better chance when you fill out an apprenticeship application for almost any trade
Right.
to get in if you have some hands-on experience. Schools, most notably in the city of Chicago, have taken away a lot of these technical programs. So it puts students at kind of a disadvantage, not of their own doing, when they're trying to get in. So the state had tried to push this program called T-Cart,
Yeah.
and it was run, I think, with just the laborers union and the operating engineers union.
Yep, it was the laborers, the operators, and the Urban League.
Okay, and the Chicago Urban League.
And so, yeah, you told me this when I first met you, and I can be blunt with you, like, I had never heard of it.
Right.
Like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
And it
But
provided skill training just to give those that little bit of basic background that helps on an application.
You got into the city of Waukegan in public works.
Yeah. So basically, man, you did 4 weeks at the laborers, and you did 5 weeks at the operators.
Got it.
And I mean, they gave you all your certifications from CPR to flaggers to OSHA 10
Yeah.
to
You had CDL too, or no?
no. So I already had my CDL previously.
Got it.
But everything you pretty much needed as entry level certifications,
Yeah.
they had it for you for free.
So when we got to Waukegan, Marcus helped me organize the public works guys there. And it was not a small group. I mean, I think at that point it was like 80 guys, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, between
And then,
public works and the
yeah.
water.
Yeah, and so then, Marcus, he asked a lot of questions, made a lot of comments. He was very pro-union, pro-150. So naturally, we said, how would you like to become the union steward?
Well, yeah. I mean,
because you get paid nothing and you get a lot of headaches.
union
And
steward.
Marcus said
stewards
yes.
That's one of the most thankless jobs.
Oh my
a
gosh!
union steward.
But
So
one of the most
hats-
important
Oh,
jobs
100%.
in the union.
Our hats go off.
Yeah. So Marcus was our steward in Waukegan Public Works for how many years?
Ooh, 9 years.
That's amazing.
9 years. It was a great time. Man, it was a really great time being able to build those relationships.
Don't lie.
Nah, I mean, honestly, man, I loved it. Right?
Did you really?
Problem solving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Being able to-
Marcus was one of those people, and then I'll stop. But Marcus was one of those people that was literally like, he would pick up the phone and call you, and I go, hey, what's going on, Marcus? And you're like, nah, what's going on with you? I'm like, everything's good. What's up? He's like, nah, I just wanted to say hello.
Yeah.
Like literally, I had 3,000 members. Marcus Jordan's the only person ever to call me and say hello.
Well, I'll add this in the Marcus Jordan Love Fest, and that is that I've never met anybody that doesn't love Marcus Jordan. You're a very popular guy, but I think it's because
Have you ever met Mrs. Jordan?
you go out of your way. Stop it. You go out of your way to help people, and I think a lot of that probably comes because what the value that comes with union membership. You know that it's not just something that everybody can walk into. It takes work. It takes dedicating yourself sometimes to trying one thing or two things or three things to try to get in. And I think that's a very important message because there are a lot of people who apply for apprenticeship programs and a lot of people who need the kind of opportunities that we're talking about. And sometimes those people come from backgrounds where they aren't given the tools, aren't given the skills that they need to have a fighting chance to get into these. And I think that's why, what you do is so important because, diversity is important in the community. It's important in the workforce. And it's something that I think unions more and more are talking about it and really, really committing themselves to and hiring, coordinators to make sure that everybody knows.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Unions are now starting to really realize. Well, no, let me take that back. Unions have realized, but taking the intentional effort on focusing on those underprivileged communities, right? A lot of communities do not. They see, the trades. They see the unions. They see them doing the work, but you have no clue on how to get in because those CTE programs are not in your schools.
Right.
So that's where we are starting to take those steps that are needed to change that narrative to sit there.
So
and,
where do you go? Do you go into the high schools? Do
Yeah.
you go to community centers? Like just
everywhere.
Everywhere
I
possible.
mean, when I say everywhere,
Yeah.
This is a 7-day-a-week job.
Yeah, I bet.
Okay,
For sure.
You're going to community organizations from the higher 360s of the world,
Yes.
all the way to middle schools.
Middle schools. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right, because that's the thing. Keeping those middle school kids, they see it already.
Yeah.
So incorporating like how fun it is, and
Right.
this is a great career path. So that way, by the time they get to high school,
Yeah.
we can focus more on economics and actually come up with strategic plans to succeed in that.
That's interesting that you said that how fun it is. That's
For sure.
That's kind of cool because you see these, you see these little kids like, I want to be a crane operator. I want to drive a train or, stuff like that. And it seems fun when you're little. And it turns out, quite frankly, that it actually is.
For sure.
Right? It's hard work, but it's actually, it's not unfun to sit on top of a tower crane and look at the, skyline. I mean, that's pretty cool,
Yeah,
right?
or being a combination. Man, I remember the first time I got into a combination or a backhoe,
Yeah.
right? It was -3 degrees on a water main break.
Oh, man.
We had what we call a breaker attachment.
Yep.
That was probably the best time of my life.
Really?
Literally.
Why?
It was just something about being in that machinery, right?
Right.
You're breaking something down to build something back up that I know is going to be there for the next at least 100 years.
Right.
Sure. And you're
Right.
actually saving people
Yeah.
and their water and
Yep.
making sure that fires can get put out. I mean,
Yep.
you're doing good.
You raise an interesting point. I've got to throw this in because anybody who knows someone who works in the building trades, like if you have a dad or an uncle, if you're just driving around, you're going to hear, I worked in that building. I helped build that building. I built that bridge. You know, that place has really good lunch. Like everything, like the ownership, the pride of ownership in building something is a real thing.
Don't drink the water in that town.
Yeah, so even like touching off
Right.
on that, like my grandfather was local 27 glazer.
Okay.
You know, growing up, we would literally drive. My father was a local 27 glazer.
Yeah.
So we're driving around the city, you know, from Loyola Hospital to everywhere, saying, "Oh yeah, I did that. I did the glass in that building." Or,
So if you're just joining us, we're talking to Marcus Jordan. He is I'm going to just say the outreach coordinator for the Indiana, Illinois, Iowa Foundation for Fair Contracting and Local 150. And it's his job to go out and to preach the gospel of the building trades and try and get more access to minority communities and to help them to get into the building trades, right? And I think it's like anything else. It's like if you want to go to law school, you know, you don't just pick up the phone and go like, "Hey, I'm going to come to your school." You have to understand the process by which, you know, to go about doing it, right? What classes to take, how to do it, how to take the LSAT, blah, blah, blah. I mean, a lot of time and effort goes into it. It's the same thing with the building trades. You don't just walk in and go, "I'm going to run that tower crane down there." You have to take a lot of classes, correct?
yeah,
Right?
there's aptitude tests that you have to take.
Right.
For the trades that don't have an aptitude test, they're going based off of your high school scores. So like those days of the 40s.
That's really, I mean, that's really important, right? So what you just said, if that trade doesn't have an aptitude test, for example, and they're going to go off your high school score, don't blow off high school. Right? Don't just short shrift it and do bad, you know, or get C's, you know, and, you know, just pass, you know, do well so you can get into these trades, right?
Well, something we've talked a lot about on the show since we started doing this show is, you know, there's this mentality among high school counselors, or at least I think it's starting to change, you know, and perhaps you can talk a little more on that, but it's that everybody's got to go to college. And if you don't have good enough grades to get into college, then you consider the trades. And that's sort of the way people used to feel about jobs in the trades, but it's not the reality because, you know, when we have, you know, at the operating engineers, for just to use that as an example, if we have 150 openings in our apprenticeship program every summer, we get between 4,000 and 5,000 applications. And so you're not, if you have, you know, a 2.0 or a 1.0 GPA from high school, it's going to hurt you. You know, we have college graduates. So educating counselors is so important because they need to see, like, if you have kids that maybe aren't meant for college and you can put them into a program where they're going to make, you know, $60 an hour by the time they're 21 years old, and they're going to be able, you know, no college debt, all this. This is a great deal, and it's not for dummies. You know, and that's something we talk about all the time in the building trades. And I know for a fact, I mean, with all the work you do, it's not just with students in high schools, but you're talking to counselors as well, right?
Yeah, so we definitely have to talk with the counselors because by their freshman year, we have to kind of put them on a trajectory.
Are the counselors receptive to what you're saying?
Yes.
They are.
Believe it or not, yes.
When they see the numbers, they
Yeah,
probably
I
want to
mean,
know
if
how to
I
get
sit
in.
here and tell a counselor, like, hey, yeah, you know, this student that you have such a great relationship with,
Right.
I have an opportunity that can make, 100 plus with free health care and benefits. I mean, after we get through the pack, the counselor saying, hey, you guys, you know,
Are you hiring?
you hiring?
Exactly.
You know, as the laugh. But then when I start explaining that, they're more engaged. They're like, okay, well, how do we do this?
Right.
And it's working. You know, we actually have CPS, some counselors coming to our training site.
Oh, really?
In the next
That makes sense.
April. In the next month.
So, Marcus, are there other versions of you in other unions?
So, to my knowledge, as of now, I think IBEW 134 has a diversity, equity, inclusion coordinator.
Got it.
But all the unions do have an outreach person,
Right.
Yeah.
or they send other individuals to do outreach.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's definitely. And then when you want to focus on disadvantaged communities, like I said, each union has some type of liaison for that. There's other, I guess, like sub organizations outside of unions, like Labor Brothers United, and all these different. That's the focus of it.
So we want to. I have a bunch more things, quite frankly, that I'd like to ask you. I think what you're doing is extremely important. Not just you, but obviously your counterparts in other unions, and quite frankly, the building trades in general are starting. Or have been doing this, and now I think it's sort of coming to fruition. This outreach program, but we need to take a quick break. So, do you mind sticking around for the next segment?
Yeah, of course.
Well, we appreciate
Thank
it.
goodness.
Yeah.
I was worried.
Otherwise, I just have to talk to Ed. Listen,
so bad.
you're listening to the Workers' Mic right here on 720 WGN. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the Workers' Mic right here on 720 WGN. I'm Ken. This is Ed, and we are here still with Marcus Jordan, or again with Marcus Jordan. Marcus, thanks for sticking around.
I appreciate it.
It's real. What you're doing, and what the rest of the trades are doing in this regard is I just can't tell you how important I think it is.
Right.
And I think that people have a misconception, if you will. About the building trades.
You hear it all the time,
and it's
not true.
First of all, it's simply not true, and B, it's this rhetoric is divisive, and recently, and I'll just address this head on. Somebody in the labor movement right here in Chicago, she said, and this is the head of the Chicago Teachers Union. What did she? She said something like.
So in the election, there are unions backing.
You mean the
mayoral election? There are unions backing
Chicago.
Paul Vallis. There are unions backing Brandon Johnson, and Chicago Teachers Union and a couple of others are backing Brandon Johnson. Many of the building trades recently came out, not all, but many, to back Paul Vallis. And the comment was that the labor movement isn't just white guys in hard hats. That's what it characterized the building trades as, white guys in hard hats, which, surprising to hear, disappointing to hear from a fellow member of the labor movement.
Yeah.
But certainly just not true.
First of all, it's definitely not true. Just look at the laborers. There are 52% people of color. 52%.
Right.
And that's not of a small number, by the way.
No.
So it's simply not true. You look at 150. I mean, we have landscapers, and we have various municipalities, and we have plenty of people in color and women. And by the way, we're actually encouraging people of color and minorities through the programs that you're heading up, Marcus, and not just we meaning 150. I mean we meaning the building trades. Mm-hmm. So for her to say that is. A, I think it's just short-sighted. B, it's divisive. And do we really need it to be divisive or divided in the labor movement? We got our own problems. We got enough problems. The last thing we need is to be divided. You could be divided about who you're voting for as a candidate. That happens all the time, right? But in terms of dividing us by race is absolutely anathema to the mission of the labor movement.
And I think the most important part of it is it's just that a statement like that, or the generalizations that have been made for decades, are just not true. Yeah. And and that's why Marcus, what you're doing, what we were talking about before the break, is so important, because before Local 150 had an outreach coordinator, we had staff at our apprenticeship program. There are groups like you were talking about, like Cisco, that go out on behalf of all the building trades to talk about all the opportunities in the apprenticeship program. So it's not about just filling the seats in your apprenticeship class, but it's about providing opportunities, providing a pathway to people who, aside from maybe not qualifying for that pathway or having the skills for that pathway, just don't even know that it exists. And what you can wind up doing is, changing somebody's life trajectory by giving these opportunities. So, I know that's where I'm getting choked up here. That's where your heart is. Excuse me, I've got something in my throat. But that's where your heart is, and that's why your job is so important. But diversity is key everywhere.
Yeah. So I mean, on that statement, I'm here to sit there and partner with everybody to accomplish this goal. Right. The main goal is outreach as a whole.
Yes.
With the focus on underprivileged communities.
Right.
So whoever needs to be partnered with to do that,
Yep.
that's it.
And so like, at some point we're going to, drill down, several years from now or whenever and see, what the results have been, right? I mean, like there's actually going to be data about this. And I'm sure there already exists some data, like I said, the laborers told me this morning, what their numbers are. But, you take a community and you change the mindset in that community of, I'm never going anywhere. I'm underprivileged. I don't have opportunities. I'm not going to, we're not going to college. We're going to be low wage workers for our entire careers. And you put the building trades in there and give them a pathway to the middle class. You're literally not just changing one person, but you're changing that family and that mindset and maybe that kid's kids, right? And that kid's family.
You're creating generational wealth.
That's exactly
literally what you're doing.
That's right. And that's, that's so important.
Yeah, with a skill that someone can take anywhere.
Listen,
everywhere.
do you think the machine knows what color you are when you're running it? Yeah, right? Do they care? Does the machine care? It doesn't care.
And another important point to make is that these contracts don't care. The wage rates don't care.
That's right.
If you work under a union contract in the building trades, you get paid the same no matter what age, race, gender, religion, anything.
The contract is a great equalizer, right? And we've talked about this a million times in the past, the fact that women make less than men.
Right.
Not in the building trades.
Not in the building trades.
Right? Black people make less than white people. Not in the building trades. So it really does equalize things. And when we say, and I'll get off my soapbox here in a second, but I mean this. I've told people this, and when I used to organize, I would say, when I say brother or sister, like I mean it. You know what I mean? And I know you and I, have had this conversation too, but we actually mean that. Like you say, hey, what's up, brother? You mean union brother, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, doesn't
matter your color, doesn't matter how you identify.
That's correct.
You are my union brother, my union sister.
That's right.
Whatever you need from me, I'm here.
Yeah,
and it is
somebody's got your back from day one.
And it's a family. Right? And what you're doing is basically taking our family and trying to expand, right? Bring in more cousins, more sisters, more uncles, et cetera, making that family bigger.
Yep.
And by it getting bigger and, quite frankly, by it getting more diverse, I think it gets stronger. For sure. Right?
Yep. You get different perspectives.
Exactly. That's exactly
You see different opportunities, right? You see it at different angles. So
some of the guests that we've had on the show bring different aspects to it. The woman from Local 134.
Yeah, Alyssa Cruz.
Alyssa Cruz, yeah. The guy from the Carpenters, Local 1. Myron, I think is his name.
Anytime you get people with different backgrounds and different life experiences, and you put them all together, you have a richer pool of experience to dwell on for for ideas for the future, ideas for things that you can do to make you stronger. So diversity is strength in all aspects, but especially here.
So you enjoying this? Like, you find it rewarding?
Yes.
You get to see the kids' eyes light up.
Yep, I'm loving it. I mean, you have the kids are definitely going to be something that's a little bit more personal, right? Because I have kids of my own.
Sure.
But I mean, just even out in the community, when you're sitting here, I'm working with someone for a full year. That's what a lot of people don't realize, that this is a process.
Sure.
This isn't just, you're going to work at, an Amazon that you fill out an application for, and then they're going to treat you like, you're going to get on the job in a week, but then they're going to treat you like garbage, right?
Right.
This is something that you're going to be trained in. I have to build a relationship with these individuals.
Sure.
Because there's other things that's going on that they might need help with. It might need a situation where you don't have transportation. Right. It might be a thing where you don't even have a license, right? We're in Chicago. Everyone rides public transit. So it's not that you can't, it's just you don't know how to.
That's a really, really good point. Something that we've been talking about at the MCL is instead of having a college scholarship, have an apprentice scholarship. And I think 150 has a work boot scholarship, and I know some of the trades have similar things, but we're thinking exactly what you just said. Like, I don't have a car to get to the job site, right? I might need help buying that car. I may not have a driver's license, right? Because, like you said, some people just, I come from New York City. A lot of people there never learn to drive. Right. They just don't need to. So, like what you're saying, I think makes a lot of sense. It's not just, simple like go apply over there and congratulations and welcome to the union. Pay your dues. Right. You're literally working with these people for a long time.
Yeah, building relationships.
How many miles did you drive last year?
Oh man, so when I got the vehicle, I had 22 miles on it.
22.
22 miles on it. Today,
You got a new car.
yeah, 22 miles on it. As of right now, I'm sitting at 62,000, a little bit over 62,000 miles on it, man. But like I said, I'm loving it.
Right.
It's not something that is a job. This is something that you have to kind of.
And do you get like what I used to get is like the phone never stops ringing. And
Yes.
You get texts and people call you.
Yeah,
on
my
the
phone is
weekends
literally. That's why I kind of if you keep looking down because it's like making sure there's nothing serious.
Yeah. But you're one of those people that will answer the phone on a weekend, right? We'll shoot a text back,
Right.
Correct?
Yeah. I mean, and even people that I meet, I say, hey, look, like I tell you from the jump, I'm extremely busy.
Yeah.
So if I do not call you back, call me.
Yeah.
If I don't call you back right away, my plan is to call you by the end of the day. If not, you're not hurting my feelings. My phone literally is open I'm on the road usually by 4:30 in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
I don't shut down until about 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah. It sounds like me. It sounds like
Yeah, man. Like it's
No,
yeah,
I think you got it
it's
backwards.
literally it's a
Ken
lifestyle.
wakes up at 11 at night.
Yeah, it's a
goes to bed
legitimate
about
lifestyle.
4:30.
Yeah.
And then one thing I also want to touch because we talk about the racial aspect of it, but one thing that I'm really excited about because I have a daughter is seeing the participation in these young ladies. Right when I'm explaining to them, hey, I just want to be honest. From what we're seeing in the field, yeah, your counterparts, your buddies here in class, they're excited, but you're probably going to be a better operator than he is over the long run.
Really?
Once you sit there, you grasp it. You're correlating like that. That traditional, where young ladies get their nails done and all that, right? That meticulous aspect of it. While us as boys, we're like, we just want to break things, and but because they have that.
Marcus Jordan just said that women make better operators than men.
I don't think that's what he said.
That's not,
I like it.
I'm saying
But
that.
what you're saying is they have an opportunity as well,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
And that they
Yeah.
should take advantage of it. And it's kind of like what Alyssa said from 134.
Right.
We need more women in the trades, period, the end.
Yep.
Right?
That's
Well,
it.
with everything, if you have more women in the trades, then more women outside the trades will see it as a real opportunity and a possibility, something that is attainable for them.
Absolutely.
It goes the same way with race. It goes the same way with everything, age. So, I mean, what you're doing, I've worked with you on a lot of different things, Marcus. And one quick thing that I'll mention is a couple of years ago, work in the construction industry has been so busy for the last couple of years. And in the area around South Bend, Indiana, we didn't have enough heavy equipment operators to man the amount of work that was going out there.
Yeah.
So we had to try to find applicants to get in to bring in as apprentices. And this was right after you came on, Marcus. And we reached out to you, and you got together a list of all the high schools, all the counselors. And within a couple of days, Marcus was out there meeting with all these people. And we wound up bringing a whole lot of folks from South Bend into that area, into these great jobs that many of them didn't even know about beforehand. So
They're still there today.
yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
So like this staffing issue that existed, that is being felt by so many different industries right now, was taken care of because Marcus worked over the weekend. We came up with an idea to solve this problem on a Friday, and by Monday he's out there knocking on doors and he's out there talking to counselors and getting it done. So he walks the walk.
That's
He
awesome.
walks the walk.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, well, Marcus, thank you so much for everything you do. How old's your daughter?
8.
Yeah,
She's
what's her
8.
name?
Madison Olivia Jordan.
Why don't
She
you
is-
say hi to Madison? Why don't we
Yeah.
all say hi to Madison?
Hey, Madison.
Hello,
I
Madison.
love you.
Your dad's the man.
You got any other kids?
Yes, I have a son. His name is Cameron.
Cameron?
Yep.
Well, let's not leave Cameron out.
Yeah,
we
I
should
know,
probably say
right?
hi
Because
to
he's going to sit there
Cameron,
and look at me like, hey, man, what am I, chop liver out here? Hey, Cam, I love you, man.
How old is Cameron?
Cameron is 19.
Okay.
19.
19 years old, man.
When does he start in the trades?
Hopefully soon. I'm waiting. I'm just waiting for him to sit here and say this is what he wants to do, right?
Hey,
You still got to make your own path.
Cameron, come on. Let's get,
All right.
get
Come
with
on
it.
in, Cameron.
Yeah. That'll actually help my son, like maybe convince him to come into the trades too.
Something. I need something. Okay, come on. All right.
Listen, thank you so much for coming. We really
Anytime.
appreciate it. You were just listening to Marcus Jordan right here on the Workers Mic 720 WGN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Workers' Mic right here on 720 WGN. I am Ken. This is Ed. We're going to wrap this show up with a couple of quick things. First and foremost, let's talk about the contest.
Yeah.
We last week said
we asked everybody to. We spent a lot of the show talking about all the different things, products that the Midwest Coalition of Labor offers to its members, and we said, if you've got an idea for something that's not currently offered, put it on our Facebook page.
And so somebody did, and his name is Ron Oakley.
Ron Oakley,
congratulations. You are the winner of a $100 gift card to Lou Malnati's. And Ron's idea was that we should offer a disability plan so that you would get some salary if you were hurt, for example, on the job or couldn't work for a little bit. And Ron is prophetic because this summer we're going to roll out a disability plan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, was that the plan like after you read his comment? Could you call it like the Ron plan, maybe name it after him? Or are you saying now that you had this idea before he made the comment?
I'm saying that, no, just trust me, it's taken me 3 years to land this thing. But yeah, so, but his idea is perfect. And so what he's saying, and he's right, is that a lot of people, I don't care how much you make, what you make, you spend.
Right. Yeah, you learn to spend whatever you make.
It just is what it is. So a lot of people, if God forbid they got hurt or couldn't work, would literally have no source of income. They'd have to burn through their savings, et cetera. So we're going to roll out a plan that for $13 a month, you would get an extra $1,000 a month on top of any other disability that you get, workers' comp, doesn't matter. On top of that, and for $28 a month, you get $2,000 a month. So this would help you offset your mortgage, your costs, et cetera, and maybe not eat through that savings.
Well, I mean, in the construction industry, I don't know the numbers, but you're probably more likely to get injured than you are to die. You can only die once. I mean, there's always a focus on life insurance because it's very important.
Isn't that a movie?
You can only die. Well, it sounds like a Bond movie.
I think it was.
You only die twice. I don't know. But disability insurance, it's a lot easier to get hurt at work, and I think it's something that a lot of people don't have.
There's no question about it. And once again, through leveraging the coalition's economies of scales and our numbers, our members are going to be able to get this what's called guaranteed issue, meaning that they won't have to take a physical, they won't have to check a box, they won't have to say, hey, I work construction and the price triples.
Right.
So they're just going to get this program. We're going to roll it out this summer. But speaking about movies, Ed, I want to pivot. So congratulations, Ron.
You're the man.
I'm going to message you, and I'll get your address and send you this gift card, and then you'll eat some pizza.
Some Italian beef with giardiniera pizza.
You do that too. But in the movie industry, weirdly enough, I was reading about the Writers Guild. And the Writers Guild writes, movies, television. I think there's Writers Guild East, if I'm not mistaken, and Writers Guild West. And I think they're actually two different unions. I get very confused about them. But the Writers Guild, this is what I read this morning. The Writers Guild themselves proposed that Chat GPT, meaning AI, be allowed to help write scripts.
They want that?
That's what I read, yeah.
That's like letting the fox into the hen house, isn't it?
I mean, it just
either
seems
that or
like
the quality of television is about to get really, really weird.
What happens if it gets better?
I mean, I think with AI and all the writing stuff, it's like 90% of it can make perfect sense, but then there's always something thrown in where you're just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, let's make an AI show. Like, show GPT, TV GPT. Like, do one.
Don't you think that's going to happen?
For sure. I mean, this is like the new reality TV. People will just tune in to see if it makes sense, to be like a spectacle.
One of the things I think that they demanded, though, was that the chatbot or the robot or whatever the hell it is gets no credit. So so a writer can submit a script that's written in part by, or maybe in whole, I don't know, by a robot, and take credit for that. It just seems, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me.
The next person who comes out, Bing has one, Google has one, I forget what it's called, but they're coming out with all these cute little names. Somebody just call it Skynet. Like the person who comes out with the next one, just call it Skynet. It'll be really funny, and it'll probably come true.
It's absolutely going to come true.
Yeah, I'm getting a little more scared of these things.
I think we're headed down that road.
Yeah. Too
So-
smart for our own good.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's like, look, when remember like when all these animated movies started happening,
Yeah.
right? Like just now they're kind of regular, right? Animation,
Yeah.
animated, characters. Back then, people were complaining, the actors were complaining that they were replacing actors.
And now those actors are sitting there in a studio with no camera making an outrageous amount of money doing
Voicing,
voiceovers.
yeah, right?
No kidding. It's
So-
not bad work if you can get it.
No, so I think basically what's going to happen is the chatbot now will do the voiceovers for the cartoon, and nobody will have jobs.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Well, I'm sure the film industry will take very good care of all the people that it puts out of jobs.
Yeah. So if you're listening, Writers Guild, feel free to contact us and give us your rationale for this. We'd love to talk to you.
Yeah.
We're not just building trades, by the way.
That's right.
That's right.
We're all out of time for this week.
Oh, all right.
So
well,
thanks for sticking with us. If
yeah,
you missed
yeah,
anything,
yeah.
be
Thanks,
sure to
and thanks, Marcus Jordan.
thank you to Marcus Jordan. Absolutely. If you missed anything from the show, check out YouTube. You can find our show on there at 9:00 this morning, along with all the other shows. Look for the Workers' Mic, and we'll be back with you next week, right here on 720 WGN.